Did you know that the honeymoon period can actually last forever? It's not something that has to die out. The common experience where initially you and your man will be so hot and heavy for each other, you'll be so connected to each other, you'll be all over each other, and then over time, as the months go by, well, start to lose interest in that connection, spending as much time together, being as interested in each other. And you're like, well, what happened? Things were so good before. We were so hot and heavy before. Everything was amazing before. And now it's not. Now there's conflicts. Now there's disconnection. There's all these problems, these issues, a buildup of resentment. You feel more like roommates a lot of the time than lovers. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And what we're going to be talking about in this video is why that happens, why typically men and women do go out of the honeymoon period. You fall out of that really intense attraction and connection to each other, and how you can turn it around, how you can maintain that honeymoon period indefinitely. Before we get into it, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Zach Grody. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. This is going to be the key to creating this sustainable honeymoon period. What happens typically in a relationship is early on, you become really attracted to your man and vice versa, him with you. And you basically get into, I call it an ego feeding frenzy. So he's basically validating you by showering you in all of this attention and time and connection and all this stuff. You're feeling so great about yourself because of all of that he's given you, and he's feeling really great because of all the time and attention and you looking up to him and all of this stuff. And everything is great for a while, except that feeding frenzy, the ego feeding frenzy, cannot last forever. It can last a few months, it can last a year, but typically it's going to start to wear out, especially once you move in together. And then it all starts to die and everything starts to go south. If you weren't getting into fights with them before, well, now all of a sudden you're starting to get lots of fights. If you had a lot of natural attraction for each other, now you're starting to feel more like roommates, and you don't want that. So what needs to shift is you need to learn how to get into your natural polarity and stay there. What I mean by that is you need to be in the feminine role in the relationship, and you need to be embodying as much as possible your feminine energy. And what this is going to do is the more that you get into your feminine, the more that it is going to polarize a man into his masculine energy. He's going to step up, he's going to take charge more, he's going to be more firmer with his boundaries, he's going to be more direct, he's going to become more ambitious. You're going to feel more of his strength, you're going to feel more of his power, and guess what? That's naturally attractive to a woman, especially the more feminine that she becomes. So the attraction is going to, it's not just that it's going to rekindle. So if you're still in the honeymoon period right now, it's just going to continue if you learn how to do this. So what this looks like, I've described this many times. This is a dance, okay? Man is leading, woman is following. Doesn't make you weak, doesn't make you insecure, doesn't make you less than. This is your feminine role. It's just as important as the man. So the man is leading the relationship every step of the way, and you are following every step of the way. That doesn't mean you don't have a voice. That doesn't mean that your opinions don't matter. A healthy masculine man is going to be asking you about your opinions, about your needs, about how you're feeling, and you're just going to be sharing, and he's going to be adjusting his leadership to better take care of you. But you don't have to step in and try to control him in any way to get him to do that. You don't have to nag him. You don't have to judge him. You don't have to blame him. You don't have to lead him. You don't have to resist him. You don't have to mother him, remind him. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All of that stuff is just going to impair the natural polarity, the masculine feminine polarity. And that's what's going to kill the honeymoon period. It's going to start to kill the attraction. So here's what happens. Early on in a relationship, especially during the dating phase, natural polarity is relatively easy unless you got a really feminine man, a masculated man who doesn't have confidence, or unless you're a really masculinized woman who doesn't know how to follow. All you have to do is kind of just wait for the man to set up dates, set up plans, telling you, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and let him lead. It's really that simple. And earlier on, before a man starts to demonstrate his, certain incompetencies and certain issues with his integrity, it can be relatively easy to have faith in him and to trust him. But what's going to happen is two big things, more than two big things, but we'll cover these big two ones. Number one, especially once you start to move in together, it's like that natural polarity that was so easy on dates where it's just like, yeah, let him lead. You guys move in together and it's so much harder to maintain the polarity because it's like now there's these chores and there's all these more complicated decisions. It's not so clear cut for the man as well. Like, here's what I'm doing. Here's my role. It's just to lead. And it's also not as clear cut for the woman. So the roles start to blend a lot of the time, unless you've consciously learned these masculine and feminine roles, unless you've learned feminine communication and he's learned masculine communication. This is going to happen over time. This is what happened to me in my relationship. So early on, when I was dating my wife, and I wasn't the perfect leader, I had a lot of issues with leading where I was just way too selfish. I wasn't really considering my wife, wasn't considering her needs, wasn't considering problems, and that made me a way worse leader than I could have been. But I was still the one that was taking charge. I was still the one that was stepping up. And so that first, what would it have been, 5-6 months before we moved in together, I was the one who was making kind of all the decisions, and my wife was just going along, having a good time for the most part, and it was easy. Once we move in together, what happens? Now we got to figure out all these chores. We got to figure out all these other decisions. It's not so obvious of like that I'm just going to be making the plans because we're now together all the time. All of our wounds really start coming out. And that's the other really big thing that happens, right? So there's not the really straightforward roles anymore because you're no longer in that dating kind of courting phase. But also, it's so easy early on to kind of, two things. You're on your best behavior. Most people are on their best behavior. I don't think my wife and I were. We were actually really real with each other right from the beginning. But because there's that ego feeding frenzy in the beginning, it's sort of like a drug. It's like when you get drunk or if you're on, smoking some weed, you're just feeling pretty good, right? Things typically are not going to bother you. There's some exceptions. Some people, it brings out really strong emotions, but let's just keep things really simple. It causes you to not be as bothered by things. As long as you're getting that drug. Once you stop taking the drug, you start to get really bothered. So early on in dating, you're kind of getting that drug fix. So little things don't bother you in the same way that it does once that drug high starts to wear off. That's where all the fighting and stuff happens. And then when that happens, it's the fighting and the problems themselves that cause so much more depolarization. So for example, one of the things that my wife started doing as this drug effect wore off, so we're now living together, we no longer have that really obvious defined role. I've kind of gotten lazier with leading because it's like, well, we're living together. What else is there to do? I didn't know any better. And then she starts judging me a lot more. She starts blaming when I make mistakes. She isn't as accepting of who I am anymore, and vice versa, right? I'm more irritated by the things that she does. And the main thing that irritated me was when she's irritated at me. She gets irritated at me, she's blaming, she's judging, that bothers me, and then I get irritated back at her, and then it just becomes a mess. So what does that do? That starts to really impact the polarity, where it's like, now I don't even really want to be leading or like taking care of you or doing nice things for you anymore. I want to be connecting with you. And she's maybe not wanting that as much either, and she's feeling less safe to be taken care of, for me to be leading the relationship in any kind of way. So what happens to her? She goes into controlling more. She starts trying to make me show up a certain way. She didn't really do any manipulation, but women can be very manipulative depending on the woman. But lots of blaming, lots of judging, lots of nagging. For me, back then, I was just like, I'm not going to listen to this crap. I would never, when someone is disrespectful to me, a woman is disrespectful to me, I have always just doubled down. We're just like, I don't care. Like, I am not going to become a better person in any kind of way. I'm just going to attack back. Now, of course, that's not the healthy masculine response. The healthy masculine response, like what we teach men in our academy program, we work with both men and women, is how to lead a woman out of any kind of disrespect, any kind of control pattern, right? It's like what I do now when she does that stuff, and she doesn't do it very often anymore. It's like, hey, sweetheart, you're judging me, you're blaming me. Don't do that. Instead, just tell me what you're feeling. What's going on? What are you feeling? What's wrong? And I help her through her feelings. And I also basically set a boundary where it's like, it's not okay to show up in this kind of way, but I'm doing it with as much love as possible at the same time. Back then, it's just, I just start attacking. I just start resisting anything, going really defensive, which if you've dated enough men, or sometimes you only have to date one man, you know what that's like. Doesn't feel good. Feels terrible. You feel more unsafe. It puts you more into those control patterns, right? So it's the man's wounds are depolarizing the woman, because the more that a man is not leading, the less safe that he is demonstrating himself to be, the more reactive he's demonstrating that he is, the less in integrity that he is, the more mistakes that he makes, the less competent he is, the less loving he is. All of those things are going to compel you into more control patterns, more judging, more blaming, more resisting, all of that stuff, right? You're getting out of your feminine energy, which is the very thing that attracts a masculine man and inspires him in the first place. So basically in our dancing analogy, it's like you're just resisting and doing, like trying to control the dance. Man's like, I want to get off the dance floor. I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to be pulled around. Unless you got a really weak man, and then he might go along with it. He's still not really going to be enjoying it, and he's certainly not going to be inspired to step up to lead. So you go into these control patterns and it masculinizes you. And for most men, those control patterns start to feminize the man. A man who has like a really strong masculine instinct, he might really resist it. He will just keep attacking back, which again is not healthy. Like that's not healthy masculine. That's not how a man should respond. But he's at least resisting what you are trying to do. So it's not working. He's not submitting to it. A man who's weaker, he might, yes, dear, that kind of mentality, like, okay, do what you want. I'm going to try to make you happy. But he's not doing it for the right reasons. And when a man tries to make a woman happy for the wrong reasons, right, basically to just make her disrespect go away, to make her judgments go away, to make her blame go away, just so that he can get some peace, he is weakening himself, and the woman's not going to be attracted to that. And even if you get exactly what you want, it's like he does exactly what you want, guess what? You're not actually getting what you need. What you need is a masculine man who is doing things for you because he cares. He's doing things because he genuinely wants to make you happy from a place of power, from a place of strength, not from a place of weakness. And that's one of the reasons why women can just get increasingly frustrated. It's like the man is trying to please her and nothing is ever good enough. You just become a black hole for his care because his care is coming from the wrong intention. And that's not to put all of the blame on him, of course. Like, he has his part to play in that. He's co-creating that reality with you. Of course, you're co-creating it as well. You're co-creating it with your control patterns, with your judgments, with your resistance, all of that kind of stuff. What we want is to ensure that your relationship, your honeymoon period, not just continues. Or like if it's already gone, it's okay, we want to get it back. So it's not about just getting it back. It's actually about it getting stronger and stronger over time. You can have a relationship where your man and you are just deepening into this polarity practice that I teach on this video, on other videos that I do, more and more. And the attraction just continues to get stronger over time. The connection gets stronger over time. The problems disappear. Your wounds heal. You fall deeper and deeper in love with each other. That's the way a relationship is supposed to be when you know what your role is and how to embody it. You haven't been taught that. Men haven't been taught that. And so you end up getting stuck. Early on you're so hopeful and you think things are going to be great, and then they're not. And then you get disillusioned and bitter and often divorced, often become a single mother. All of these problems that happen, and it's tragic. It's tragic for you, it's tragic for any kids involved, it's tragic for the man, because it doesn't have to be that way. You just haven't been shown any better. If you knew what's in my brain, if you knew what's in the hundreds of videos that I've made, if you knew what was in the Academy program and you knew how to implement it fully, none of that would ever have to happen. It's like this, I really believe that to a large degree, this information has just been withheld from humanity. Now, of course, there's been many people talking about masculine and feminine stuff for a long time, for decades, centuries, for forever, basically. I mean, it's in the Bible too, right? Like a man's role and a woman's role. You know, if you're religious, if you're Christian in any way, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And a lot of, pretty much all faiths, I think, are in some way talking about that. I don't come from a religious background, but what I teach is actually biblical. I found that out afterwards. So all these Christians were coming to me. It's like, oh my God, this is exactly what the Bible teaches. The difference, though, is what I am teaching is very easy to apply, right? What is in the Bible and what's in a lot of religious texts, it's like, yeah, it's describing the roles, but it's not showing you how to be in these roles. Like, for example, yeah, follow a man, submit to a man. Yeah, that's great. But when a man hurts you, what do? You're just supposed to become a doormat and just accept it, become the good girl, don't rock the boat. You need communication. You need to know how to communicate your unmet needs, your feelings, in a way where you're not energetically leading, in a way where you're not judging, you're not blaming, you're not resisting. You're opening yourself vulnerably to him in a way that's going to inspire him to care. And if you're not getting that deep understanding of how to do that, then it's going to be very limiting, of limited value for you to make these shifts. Tell me what you think so far of this honeymoon period. Have you experienced this honeymoon period before? Did you notice that it waned over time? Did you notice that it maybe eventually disappeared? Was there anything that you did to turn things around or to make it worse? Tell me, because I will look at all the comments. I will read them. I'll often reply to them. And the more that I know about where my followers are at, my subscribers are at, the more that I can actually help you. And on that note, if you like this video so far, if you're getting value from it, which you probably are if you stuck around, we're almost 20 minutes in, be sure to like this video. I'm going to make sure that this video for the rest of it is going to continue to be just as good, if not better. And also subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed to it. Click that subscription button, click the notification button so that you can get way more videos just like this. What I'm building here on this platform is an entire library of information to fully understand this concept of masculine and feminine polarity, your role in it as a woman, to basically solve any love life problem that you are experiencing. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's first date stuff, dating profiles, you've been married for 50 years, anywhere in between. You can solve it by learning how to let go of control and to use feminine communication to be in your feminine energy. You just need someone to show you how to do it. That's all. Okay, so where are we here? We got the we got the honeymoon period. It's not working out. It's not working out because of these control patterns. So what happens is man starts to not fully lead in the way you need. That's basically what's going on. If he was fully leading, it would be easy for you to stay in your feminine energy and the polarity would remain intact, and you guys would just maintain tons of attraction all the time. So that's not happening. In some way, the man is dropping the ball. So what could he be doing? He could be getting lazy, getting more apathetic. It's just like, you lead. It's one of the things I did in my relationship. It's like, I'll just let you lead sometimes. I'll let you drive. I'll let you make the decisions. I'll let you make the plans. I'll let you just figure out how things are going to be going in our relationship. And I won't be the active leader that I'm supposed to be. That's going to piss a woman off. When a man does that, he is a boy, right? That I fully admit it. I'll admit it on so many of these videos. I was a boy. I was basically a child. I was a really fun child. I was a lot of fun. Women and my wife had lots of fun with me a lot of the time. I'm very charismatic in a lot of different ways, but I did not have that masculine mentality of, I am the provider. I am the protector. I am here to lead you. I am here to take care of you. I'm here to cherish you. I'm here to honor your heart and ensure that your needs are met. That is my role as the man. The role of, I'm here to cherish you. I'm here to take care of you. I didn't get that. If a man doesn't get, that's a really big problem in a relationship. And unfortunately, so many men today, they don't get that. It's just a bunch of boys running around. Boys who were not properly taught by their fathers. Boys many of them who were just raised by their mothers, who were very masculine, who were not proper role models for them. Nobody's a proper role model for them. Okay? This isn't to take away their responsibility. Still a man's responsibility, the way that he shows up, but it's important to see why men are not showing up the way they're supposed to be. Same with women. It's like, you got a responsibility in this as well, but why are you showing up this way? You didn't have a mother to properly role model how to use feminine communication, how to be in your feminine energy. You didn't have a father to set really strong boundaries with you, correct you, literally teach you feminine communication. I mean, a father might have done some stuff, but was he teaching you feminine communication? Was he teaching you how to inspire a man? If not, then he dropped the ball. And of course, he just didn't know. Your mom didn't know. It's like, now here we are, and now you're learning on my videos. So we're going to turn it all around. Better late than never. So a man is dropping the ball by being more apathetic. He can be reactive, right? That's going to cause a whole bunch of polarization problems. He gets triggered. He gets defensive when there's some kind of conflict. He's not leading the two of you through it with love. He's withdrawing in some kind of way. He stops being as affectionate. He stops working on himself in some way. Maybe he loses ambition. I'm just throwing out a bunch of things that can happen as a man. He can enable any of your control patterns, like he can as looking for a mother in some way. He's okay with being, you reminding him about stuff. He's okay with you being the one that's giving him gifts and plans and all of this. He's not setting strong boundaries, right? To have a masculine man, you need him to have strong boundaries. You need to know that he has a strong backbone. He's not just letting you get away with stuff. He stops giving direction in some kind of way. He's just like, it all kind of falls under apathy. It's like, for a man, polarity is going to be lost when he stops leading, when he kind of steps down from that role, when he abdicates that role, when he lets you lead, when he allows you to lead, when he enables you to lead. That's where everything goes wrong. For a woman, everything goes wrong when you start to lead. When you start to step into that role, you start taking on the burden of making the decisions, making the plans, nagging, telling him what to do, setting boundaries with him, all of that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, and so that's the other really big thing that a man can do when he does stuff that's not in integrity. Not every man is going to be perfectly in integrity. Very few, right? They're also going to make mistakes. So he'll be out of integrity sometimes. Hopefully not with something huge like cheating on you, but maybe something like leaking some sexual energy, flirting with somebody, checking out other women. All that kind of stuff is out of integrity, and it's going to create polarization issues. And then if he's incompetent as well, like say you've entrusted him to lead the finances, to pick good restaurants, whatever it is, pick a place to live together, and he's bad with his finances or he's bad making decisions or whatever, that's going to result in a lack of trust. What's that lack of trust going to do for you? Compel you into the control patterns, okay? And then if he enables you to stay in them, a lack of polarity. We got to fix this. How are we going to fix this issue? Well, it all falls on you. Now, if I was talking to a man, I would say, it all falls on you, buddy. It's all up to you to fix this. You got to start leading. You got to start stepping up. Stop enabling him. Stop enabling her. Start telling her how to show up better for you. Do it all with love. Stop being emotionally off center. You got to work on centering yourself. You got to always communicate with love, with care. You got to help reestablish that safety. Here's some communication skills, right? It would all be focused on him. Here's how to lead her better. But we don't have him to do that, right? You can't control him. Can't control someone else. You can only control yourself. You can only choose how you can show up better. But the beauty of polarity work is you don't need his buy-in for this. This isn't like a therapy session where it's like, hey, we got to go to couples therapy because this isn't working. We got to do it together. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And men hate that stuff anyway. So he probably is not going to go. And even if he does go, it's probably not going to work because it's not teaching anything about polarity anyway. So it's mostly a waste of time, not completely. Can at least make it better than it was, but oftentimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes it worse. Polarity, though, totally different ballgame. What you need to do is look at yourself. Look at, how am I co-creating this situation? Because everything's a co-creation. It's not like, hey, this is all your fault. Like, you did all of this, lady. No, it's, okay, there's things that I have done, right? If I'm pretending to be you, I'm the woman. There's things that I'm doing here that's co-creating this situation. The reason that he is not leading, yes, it is because of his own stuff, but it's also because I am enabling it in some way. I am demotivating him in some way. So you got to look at, how are you doing that? How are you demotivating? How are you enabling? And then shift that behavior, shift that communication, and basically become inspiring. How are we going to do that? Well, you do that with, number one, stop doing whatever the control pattern was. So if it's like you're judging him, like nagging, judging, all blaming, stop doing it. That's straightforward. Like, just don't do that. If it is giving reminders, if it is mothering, if it is, being in the giving role, if it's some kind of manipulation, don't do that. It's pretty straightforward here, right? It's just like you just don't do the thing that's causing these issues. There's a saying in like the whole feminine space, just lean back. It's like, you just lean back, just stop doing all of this stuff. And that is a very important piece to being feminine and to inspiring a man, but that alone is not going to do it. I mean, it will for some men. Some men, if their masculine instinct is really online, like, you're going to see a totally different man, especially if you learn how to be grateful, show that gratitude, show a lot of positivity. A man's going to totally eat that up, and he's going to be stepping up and be so much more masculine. But for a lot of women, especially the women in my academy program, like, it's funny, women who come to my academy program, it's usually, oftentimes, not always, it's ones who have tried a lot of stuff already. It's like they have read all of these books, they've gone with a lot of the big coaches, Laura Doyle and Rory Ray and all of this stuff, and may have made some shifts because, there's some good things about those coaches, but they're stuck. And the main way that they're stuck is they notice that they're actually still two things. They can still be controlling energetically with their communication. There's a lot of coaches, pretty much every coach I've seen is actually teaching kind of like a softened masculine communication. It's not truly feminine. It's not what I teach. But so many coaches will say this is feminine communication. Any femininity coach will say like, oh, I teach feminine communication. I've looked at dozens of coaches and it's not feminine communication. How do I know what I am teaching is feminine communication? I'll tell you. It's because I have been in my marriage for nearly a decade, and my wife was definitely not using feminine communication. Lots of judgments, lots of blame, lots of all this kind of stuff that was really pushing me away. And then I started to notice there was certain ways that she would communicate that would really inspire me. Like, it was rare at the time, but it's like, ooh, I really liked how she communicated that. I liked how she communicated that. And not only were the words different, but there was a deep softening in herself. There was an opening, a vulnerability, a receptivity that would shift. And all of a sudden, I became really attracted in those moments and much more connected, and I became inspired to be a better man. I became inspired to lead. I became inspired to take care of her. So what I did, and this took, most of it took a year, but then I continued to hone it in my academy program, practicing with hundreds of academy students, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't. Basically what I did was I paid attention to how her words made me feel in my body, what inspired me, and I eventually created it into a framework and started teaching it to my clients. But I also started teaching it to her. It's like, instead of giving me this judgment, sweetheart, just tell me how you feel. Tell me in an I feel statement. I feel sad, I feel angry, and then she'd throw out feelings that aren't really feelings, like I feel hurt, or I feel unsafe, or I feel judged. None of those are feelings. So then I have to correct her to actually tell me what a real feeling is. She would share problems with me, but the problems would be full of judgment instead of being vulnerable about it. So I teach her that as well. So my framework is basically based on paying attention to how I have felt in my marriage, as well as with hundreds of women students over the past 5 years, in a way that inspires me the most. Really think about that for a moment. Literally, what I teach women to do, to communicate, inspires me the most. It makes me the most inspired to want to take care of a woman, whether it's my wife, or whether it's a client, or whether it's my mother, whether it's anybody. I want to cherish them, whether it's romantically or non-romantically. Obviously, my wife, it's romantically, whether it's with, and also my daughter. Like, my daughter's 3, I'm teaching her feminine communication as well. And I adore my daughter no matter what she does, but there's some things that irritate me, absolutely, in the way she communicates. And by helping her shift this communication, I feel so much more inspired to just want to take care of her even more, hug her even more, kiss her even more. It's almost impossible to, because I love her so much, but it's a next level. And so that's why I know that what I teach you works. But, well, okay, that's part of it. It could have just be me. Maybe it's just the Zach Rody thing. but it's not. What we see is it works consistently with any man when their masculine instinct is at least relatively online. The more a man's instinct is online, the better it works. So we got women who come into our program where right away the man's like, it's like a Zach Brody. And I hear all the time from my clients, like, he's like an academy man, because we work with men as well in our academy. It's like, he's using masculine communication. He's become an academy man. He's leading just like Zach does and the other coaches. How is this possible? I didn't teach him. He hasn't watched any of Zach's videos. How can this be? Well, it can be because that woman, that client, inspired him into his masculine energy, into communicating with strength. It strengthened him. It made him feel more powerful, and it made him feel more devotional, so that he wanted to step up, lead, and cherish. This is the masculine instinct. We also have clients, so like, just to be fully fair, we got ones on the other side of the spectrum where the man that they have is on the other side of the spectrum. Super emasculated. Masculine instinct is completely buried. Those are harder. Much harder. We've shifted many of those around, not all of them. Okay, it's impossible to be 100% consistent because some men are just too far gone, they don't want to do the work. But we've been able to shift a lot of them where their masculine instinct comes more and more in line over time. So basically, he's starting to heal the wounding that's around his masculine instinct. So he starts to feel that urge to be the provider, to be the protector, to be the leader, to be the one that is cherishing his woman. That's what feminine energy and what feminine communication can do. Before we go into the next step, number one, how are you liking this so far? Tell me, are you liking this? Are you getting a lot of value? What have you learned? What's like the biggest takeaway so far? Tell me, I want to know. And I'm going to read stuff. I'm going to read everything. So, I love checking out my comments. And if you haven't liked this video, you're this far, you're over 30 minutes in, you better be a subscriber by now. If you're not a subscriber, then subscribe to this video, because obviously you resonate enough with what I am teaching to want more of this. And guess what? I got hundreds of these videos, and I got hundreds more coming. It's time for you to start binge watching this stuff. Start learning this, because I guarantee you can shift everything. It's totally up to you. It really is. You just have to realize that it's within your power, and then start learning, and then start doing the work. So the other thing I was going to share before we talk about this last piece is, if so far you're really resonating on a really deep level with what I'm sharing, and you're like, man, I really want that. Good news. Go below this video, open up the description, click the link. It's going to take you to a video. Watch that video. relationshipofyourdreams.com. You can also type it in the address. Don't do it now. Finish this video, but you pause the video. You can write down that address as well, or you can go to it afterwards and watch that video. It's going to explain exactly what we're doing from our client's perspective. And then if that resonates for you as well, that's going to be helpful for you, and it's going to motivate you. But also, if it really resonates, there's a link to book a call with me below that video. You're going to book a call. It's free. We're going to talk about your love life. I'm going to actually give you coaching for free as well. But also, I'm only looking for people who are serious about potentially stepping into a solution, which could be mine, my academy program, to make these shifts. Ultimately, what we're here to do, help you create the relationship of your dreams. That's possible for you. We can do it. We've done it a bunch of times. Just depends how badly you want it. You want it, we can make you do it. we can help you have it. You just got to learn this stuff. You got to be brave enough. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of determination. But 100%, let's find out together. Book that call. No matter what, even if you decide not to join, you'll get a lot out of it, because I'll pinpoint your exact problems that are going on in your relationship, or if you're single, in your love life, just your dating life, and then we'll talk about it, give you some direction. Okay, so last piece of this is feminine communication. So it's not just about leaning back. If you're just leaning back, that's nice. If a man's masculine instinct is super online, that might be enough. Usually it's not enough. And that's where a lot of our clients come to us, because a lot of coaches are not teaching the feminine communication stuff properly, and actually the feminine energy. A lot of coaches, like a lot of women coaches, are actually in their masculine energy. It's like, I don't even know what's going on. It's a crazy, very crazy inverted world out there. Anyway, not that they're not sharing good stuff. It's just coming more up from here rather than from a heart place for a lot of them. Actually, most of, this isn't to say all women coaches are bad or masculine. I actually know many women coaches. Before I keep going on these tangents, so I'll get to this in a sec, but I know lots of fantastic women coaches. Some of them, they're in my academy program. It's just that they're typically not the really big names. To be a really big name, you typically have to run on a lot of masculine energy, a lot of ambition, and then they're the ones that women are learning from, and they're learning all this stuff that's like half-truths. The ones that are actually much better, they're actually much, much smaller names. Smaller than I am, for sure. But I'm not even that big of a name at all, not even close. Okay, so where are we? So feminine communication. You can lean back. You've got to lean back. You stop controlling. You stop enabling all that stuff, but you must have a voice. You must communicate what is coming up for you. Because if you just lean back, a lot of the time your needs are still not going to be met. And if you just lean back, you're actually not in your self-worth. One of the big reasons that a man is more apathetic, and again, this isn't to blame you, it's also on him, but he's just not as apathetic at truly stepping up and taking charge in the relationship, providing for you and protecting you. It's because he can't really feel your self-worth. And a man wants to provide for and protect a woman who is, we'll call it, worthy of it. And that's not to say you're not worthy. It's like, you're worthy of it. Like, I guarantee it. You just don't fully know it on the deepest level. You might believe it consciously. It's like, yeah, Zach, I'm totally worthy of it. But deep down, what matters is that's what's really going to be communicated. It's going to be communicated through your behavior patterns. So, for example, if a man does things that you don't like, or you feel some anxiety or whatever, and you're not speaking up, or you are speaking up but you're not doing it in a feminine way, you're doing it in a way where you're kind of trying to control in some way or judge, well, you're not in your self-worth, especially if you're not sharing at all. So you might think like, oh, I'm really worthy, but you're doing all this stuff where you're actually communicating, no, I'm not worthy, even though you are. So it's not that you are intrinsically not worthy, it's that you don't believe that you are intrinsically worthy, and this is taken out on you through your behavior patterns, which you need to shift. So part of the shift in the behavior patterns is just stop enabling, just stop doing all the control stuff. But then the other big piece is you must speak up, which is one of the forms of control. It's avoidance. It's avoiding sharing what you need to share. You need to share your feelings. You need to share your needs. You need to share your unmet needs. You need to share problems that are coming up. You need to ask for help, ask for support, ask for time, ask for affection if you're not getting it, and you need to do it in a feminine way that actually works. You need to do it in a way where you're not energetically controlling a man in any kind of way. You're just opening yourself energetically, right? May I please have some help? I'm feeling so much fear. I don't know what to do. Why, she says, like, why are you feeling fear? Because I just noticed that my heart's closing and I'm like starting to judge you about these certain things and I really don't want to. And I'm afraid that our relationship isn't going to work out, or like that you're going to abandon me or something. I'm just giving you one example. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of feminine communication stuff in this video. I'm just giving you an understanding. By the way, I have lots of videos where I do go way deeper into the feminine communication stuff. And of course, in my academy program, you get absolutely everything as far as feminine communication. But on this, I'm trying to help you understand the energy. What am I doing when I shift into little Zacharina mode, right? I become a woman for a moment. I am energetically opening myself up. I am being vulnerable. I'm exposing my heart. I'm becoming more permissive, sharing what my needs are without trying to control. And anyway, I'm sharing real feelings. I'm sharing real problems. They're all about me. I'm not making it about him. There's a lot of nuance to this. But understand it's your vulnerability that is the counterpart to a man's devotional power and strength, right? The more vulnerable you are, it's going to polarize him into being more strong and powerful. You want a man who's strong and powerful, right? Does that turn you on? You attracted to that? Does that make you horny? Does that make you, feel safe? Assuming, of course, that power and strength is also devotional, right? It's loving, it's warm. It's not cold and harsh. That's not going to feel good. So powerful, strong, you can feel that strength. You can feel the safety in that, and there's just so much warmth for you to melt into. That is what is going to polarize you into your feminine, right? Well, guess what? The reverse is true. The more vulnerable that you become, the more open you become, the more receptive, the more permissive, the more feminine in all these kind of ways, the more that he's going to be more attracted to you, the more that he's going to be inspired to step up and be a better man for you, the more that he's going to look at himself, the more accountable he's going to be, the more that he's going to work hard to fix the relationship, to fix himself, to fix any problems in the way of you guys just being able to love each other the way that you were meant to. This is magical stuff. So you got to move through all these fears of being able to do that. Can you do that? I mean, for many women, you're watching this, it might sound really terrifying. A lot of the women that we work with in our academy, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the academy, but like there's a lot of dissociation. For many women, there's a lot of emotional flooding, right? It's just hard to just fully be in your heart, your body, you're feeling all the feelings. Hard to fully accept all of the feelings, and then really a lot of fear of being vulnerable. And a lot of women don't realize how much fear they're running on until they're actually led into being vulnerable. And it's like, oh my God, like this is what being vulnerable actually feels like. This is terrifying. And here's the last thing I'm going to share before I wrap this up. And this is really important. I share this on a lot of videos. I'm using the word vulnerability here. You probably don't know what vulnerability means, unless you've watched tons of my videos, and even still, you might not fully get it experientially. Most women think they're being vulnerable when they're not. And they try being vulnerable. It's like, I'm really open, sharing my feelings, pushes a man away, and you learn the lesson, oh, okay, men don't like being vulnerable. They don't like me being vulnerable. It's only one of two things that's possible. Either the man sucks, because he's too emasculated, his instincts too offline, he's got too many wounds, which is possible, but it's not the most likely possibility. It's either that, or you think you're being vulnerable when you're not. And what I have found in my academy program, with literally hundreds of women students that have come through my program, have worked with me, they don't know what vulnerability really is. Even ones who followed me for a while, like it doesn't really click. There's so many blind spots around this, but when it does start to click and you start to have those experiences with a man where it's like, oh my God, like I had that effect on a man. He just stepped up and started taking charge, and I was able to share all my stuff and like even negative stuff about him, and he just loved me more and hugged me and protected me and became a better man. When you start to see, that's where the magic is. And then if you weren't a believer before, you start to become a believer. It's sort of like, when you first in Fantasyland, you're Peter Pan, you learn how to fly. It's like once you see that you can fly yourself, you get some little Tinkerbell dust on you. Oh my God, flying is real. I can do it. I'm doing it myself. You just got to experience this for yourself, and then it all starts to click, and it's magic. All right, that's it for this one. Again, book a call with me, relationshipyourdreams.com, if you're ready for that. If you're not, keep watching the next video. Keep absorbing and soaking this up. Thank you for following me. Again, like and subscribe.